Well, it's clear now that fighter jets are going to be another controversial issue when Parliament returns later this month. The government has just announced it will spend millions to keep our current fleet of CF-18s flying, while it prepares to spend billions on new planes. The Liberals say the Conservatives have their priorities all wrong. Margot McDermott joins me now live from Bedeque, Nova Scotia, where the Liberals have just wrapped up their National Caucus meeting. Margot, the two parties now fighting over fighter jets. What were the leaders saying today?
Carol, the Prime Minister was actually in Montreal to make this announcement. They're going to spend $500 million to keep the CF-18 sort of in flying condition, almost probably up for the next decade. And that's while they build the new planes, the 65 fighter jets. Are spending $16 billion to get these planes in the air. That was announced just sort of at the beginning of the summer. Maybe a lot of people missed that when they were on holidays. But so that was sort of controversial at the time. And then when it was raised here at the Liberal caucus, the media were asking Michael Ignatieff about the contract just to sort of keep the old planes in the air. And he said, well, listen, if the Liberals were elected, that they would rethink that larger contract for 65 fighter jets for Canada, because he was saying that Canadians probably have other priorities right now, and that they would rethink that entire contract. So it sort of drew an angry response from the Prime Minister when that was pointed out to him in Montreal. So here's a sample of what both leaders were saying. First of all, starting with Michael Ignatieff.
We want to take a long, hard look at these military procurement purchases, because in a $54 billion deficit, to have your priorities being prisons and planes at a time when there's very widespread economic anxiety among Canadians, especially as they look over their shoulders at the United States, it seems to me people have got their priorities in the wrong place.
Everybody knows the Liberal Party supports this. Everybody understands that the military will need this equipment at the end of the decade. And everybody understands this is to the benefit of the Canadian aerospace sector, particularly the industry that's based here in the Greater Montreal region. So the opposition should stop playing political games with this and simply support this, which is a necessary purchase for all of us.
And Carol, the Prime Minister also pointed out in that press conference that in fact it was the Liberal government back in 2002 that signed on to the NORAD contract to buy these new fighter jets, sort of the overall umbrella contract to save money by buying a whole bunch of jets among a number of countries. And so they point that out too, that in fact the Liberals said yes to this idea just 8 years ago.
All right, let's talk about the Liberal caucus meeting in Bedeque, the big red tent, which historically has meant something else. But what's the big news out of there today?
Well, probably not big news, but more of what we've been hearing, that the bus tour really worked well for Michael Ignatieff as Liberal leader, that he got out of Ottawa, he got to meet Canadians, he's really good, sort of, as they say, unbuttoned and flying without a net, good sort of talking without a script. And so they want to keep that going because they feel it's really improved his image, and it's also helped to bring the caucus together and actually helped his performance as Liberal leader. So what they announced today is that the Liberals will continue these meetings with the public in sort of a different forum. They're going to have a series of town hall meetings over the next year with Canadians right across the country again, where they would set up town halls with an open mic, and Canadians can come and ask Michael Ignatieff anything they want. And they're doing this for a very specific reason, Carol, because not only does it help Michael Ignatieff, they think, but it also shows him in contrast, according to Liberal strategists, with the Prime Minister, who they accuse of actually hiding from Canadians and not going out and meeting them and sort of answering unscripted questions. So they think it just works well in this narrative that Michael Ignatieff is very different, much more open than the Prime Minister. So expect to see those start actually in the next couple of weeks.
All right, Margot McDermott in Bedeque, Nova Scotia. Thank you.